It feels like a no-brainer, right? If you see someone in medical distress, you call for help.
That did not happen for a man who was violently ill for hours, so ill, in fact, he died. And the people charged with caring for him are now being sued because of it. Floor investigator Chris Ramirez is here. And Chris, you have that video to prove the lack of action.
Yeah, that's right, guys. This happened at the Cibola County Jail in Grants. Douglas Edmonston was an inmate there waiting for a trial for a misdemeanor charge. He spent an entire night throwing up blood, begging to be taken to the hospital. Instead, the video shows the correctional officers left him on the floor to die. On the night of July 7th, 2016, Douglas Edmonston told guards he was feeling extremely sick. He was vomiting and defecating blood. At one point, he even fell out of his bunk. And according to a lawsuit, he reported his pain at about 10:15 that night. Well, today was the first day attorney Glenn Valdez watched the video of what happened.
It made me sick to my stomach. I'm watching somebody die right in front of my eyes.
For 7 hours, Edmonston was in agony, lying on the floor, at some points appearing to be unconscious. The other inmates were so concerned for him, they opened Bibles and read to him. They even formed this prayer circle.
We know that the inmates, everyone else were trying to get help, and nothing happened. He couldn't call himself. He couldn't get a hold of an ambulance. He couldn't do anything that we take for granted, and so without the guards to call, he's dead.
An autopsy would later reveal Edmonston had a ruptured blood vessel inside his stomach. His abdomen was full of blood. Had jail guards taken him to a doctor when he first complained of his extreme pain, it's believed he would have had an 80% chance of living.
And I think that it was a financial decision, that they didn't want to pay to transport him to a hospital.
I spoke with the Cibola County manager this afternoon. Because this case is now pending in court, he couldn't say much other than after the death, jail policies were reviewed, but nothing has been changed. He also told me the county commissioned an external investigation of Edmonston's death, but would not reveal the outcomes of that investigation. Tessa, back to you.
Horrifying video shows prison officers watch man throw up blood for hours until he dies. As inmates formed a prayer circle around a man as he died a painful death, vomiting up blood, prison guards stood by and watched him die. By Matt Agarist, July 12, 2017. Grants, NM. Horrifying video, exposed through a new lawsuit, shows an inmate begging to be taken to the hospital as he violently throws up blood. All the while, prison officers stand by and simply watch him die. For 7 hours, Douglas Edmonston writhed in agony as blood spewed from his mouth. Instead of getting the dying man the help he was begging for, prison officers sadistically stood by and watched him die. It made me sick to my stomach, said attorney Glenn Valdez, after seeing the video for the first time. I'm watching somebody die right in front of my eyes. As Cobb reports, Edmonston suffered for 7 hours, and at some points he appeared to be unconscious. The other inmates were so scared for him that they read Bible passages and even formed a prayer circle. We know the inmates and everyone else were trying to get help, but nothing happened, Valdez said. He couldn't call himself or do anything that we take for granted. So without the guards to call, he's dead. Advertisement. When an autopsy was conducted, examiners found that Edmonston had a ruptured blood vessel in his stomach which led to his death. According to the report, his abdomen was full of blood. Had the jail officers taken him to the hospital when he asked for them to, he would have had an 80% chance of living. What's more, Valdez says that prison officers allowed Edmonston to die so that they didn't have to pay the medical expense of bringing him to a doctor. Read more. Mother and child murdered by rapist because cops go after drug dealers instead of criminals. I think it was a financial decision that they didn't want to pay to take him to a hospital, he said. According to Cobb, because of the pending litigation, county officials weren't able to say much about the incident when Cobb reached out for comment. They did say that policies at the jail were being reviewed, but there have been no changes yet. The Cibola County manager also said was an external investigation of Edmonston's death, but he would not reveal the conclusions of that. As Valdez notes, he was not like someone on the outside of prison. Edmonston couldn't simply call 911 and get help. Instead, he was at the mercy of the Cibola County jail guards, and they showed no mercy. Edmonston's death is not an isolated incident. In-custody deaths are an all too often tragic occurrence. Only 48 hours after he made a Facebook post thanking God for his kids, a 35-year-old father of 4, Michael Sabbie, died in a concrete cage. His last moments alive were caught on a jail's surveillance cameras as he uttered the all-too-familiar phrase "I can't breathe" 19 times as cops ignored him. Summer Nunnally, a mother of 2, was arrested on suspicion of DUI in May of 2015. She had ingested some pills and had a bad reaction to them. She was then booked into the Mississippi County Jail, where she would die a slow and humiliating death, all as guards watched and laughed for their own amusement. Neither Nunnally nor Sabbie had been convicted of a crime. In fact, according to a report released by the Bureau of Justice Statistics, an overwhelming amount of inmates who die in police custody haven't been convicted of a crime. Read more. Cop threatens to arrest woman's family to force her to have an abortion, beats her afterwards. An alarming 75% of the people who die behind bars actually have not been convicted of a crime. As we have seen with the cases of Sandra Bland, Rexdale Henry, Sarah Circle Bear, and others, many of the deaths that occur in prison happen under extremely suspicious circumstances and are labeled as suicides without proper investigation. As the video above illustrates, the problem doesn't seem to be getting any better.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too, because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheep up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Charlotte County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if some, if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave a, let's say, actually, yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But, do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it. 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, if I got, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. You know, 47,000 of you so far right now. You know, $1 a day. I mean, $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.